And hello, Kojo, can you hear me? Maybe let's just try before the numbers swell. Exhibit.
Yes, yes, Justice. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good, good, good,
Yes.
good. I think we just had a turbulent patch.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
couldn't have come at a better time.
So I had to restart like 2 or 3 times. And I think from your end as well, I'm told the meeting went down briefly.
Yes, 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 it did.
No,
Yeah. So maybe when we get to about when we get into the 20s in terms of the attendance, then we can shoot. So please be
very
on
well.
standby. Thank
I'm
you.
here. I'm here.
Hello, gentlemen. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, Justice, I think Kojo is on the line now. So,
Yes,
before we bring Kojo, in, I would like to touch on a few things. We apologize for the break in transmission. We are sounding like GTV, but we are back on again. As I said, let's still continue to share the link so that people join again. It's the same link actually, so let's join with the same link. Without much, I hand over to Justice again. Kojo, I hope this time his audio is visible and clear.
Yes, Oput, thank you. I think Kojo tried his audio earlier, I think before you joined. And so we should be fine now. And I was saying, and thanks to all of you who have rejoined again. It tells you how important this topic is to you as well. And we are very grateful for the patience to get us onto this level. I know a lot of us are itchy to hear from Exhibit. So I would leave the floor for him so that he does his thing. But he needs to remember that we're in, we've joined together Form 1. He became our assistant school prefect. And then now minister and a politician. And he's here in his capacity as a legal practitioner to take us to a few of the lines. Kojo, the girl's favorite man. Over to you.
Justice, thank you. And good evening, colleagues. Let me start off by joining Oput and team to apologize that we're having technical issues initially. But thankfully, I think we are back on. My presentation is not, or my discussion, first of all, is very brief. But secondly, is not, too legalistic. I'm not going to go into the law too much. I've shared a little presentation. I don't know if you can see it. Justice, can you please confirm if my presentation is visible?
Confirm. You can see.
Okay. So I prepared a few slides just to share with colleagues on investing in turbulent times. And as I'm sure you are aware, everybody.
My apologies. Just to nudge the brothers on the call. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. When it gets there, we'll read them out. Otherwise, you may wait till the end of the presentation, so we'll give you an opportunity. Thanks, Pedro. You can continue.
Okay, Justice, thank you. As I was saying, my presentation is a very brief one, and it's not even too much into the legalese. It's essentially about refreshing your thoughts on a few things that I know we all know already. And it is aimed at encouraging all of us that even in the midst of turbulent times like now is the best time to actually invest. I will spend some time speaking about the various types of investments and what the law says about them and what you can do in your space. I was looking for a way to kick off our conversation. And in the midst of my little struggle, I said, but we all went to what is supposedly the best Catholic school in town. So maybe I should look for a piece of scripture to start off this presentation. And thinking through, I found Matthew 4:4, where our Lord Jesus Christ says, after his temptation to cause stones to be turned into bread, he makes a profound statement that says that man shall not live by bread alone. And I think it's a statement that we repeat when we are joking and when we are saying a few things. But that statement is very pregnant. It has two main things in it. One, it makes the point that man shall live by bread. Without bread, man will struggle to live. But it also makes the second point that bread alone is not enough for man to live. i.e., bread will give man maybe basic earthly survival, but will not give man the extra things that he's looking for. And if I extrapolate from that piece of scripture into maybe the world of finance, I would say that what it essentially means is that man needs resources to power up. Man needs resources to move, to deliver, to fulfill his mandate, to do what he wants to do. In the biblical and literal context, you will say that man needs food, which is actually energy for him to power up and go about his daily activities. And in the financial context, I would say man needs cash. He needs bread to be able to power up and do what he wants to do, take care of his family, fulfill some of the desires and ambitions in life. So man needs cash, man needs bread. But man needs more than just survival resources. Man needs resources to power, but he needs more than survival resources. And there's a clear understanding that we are taught, typically as Ghanaians and Africans, that go to school, get a certificate, get a job, and then you get a monthly salary. Then at the end of about 60 years, you go on retirement and you get a pension. That's what many of us and our parents were told. But that gives you resources to power. The people we see who are doing some of the big things that we admire, big houses, big that, doing this, sending their children to school here, doing all of those things. They don't live by bread alone. They don't live by survival alone. They do other things that allows them to gain wealth. So briefly tonight, I want to talk about doing the things that will help you to gain wealth, which is investing. And I want to particularly talk about why now, in the midst of the difficulties, now is even the best time or possibly a very good time to invest. So I tried to do a little comparison between survival and wealth, focusing on the Matthew 4:4 that I picked. And I tried to come up with a little equation, what I call the equation for survival. You see, we are all trained that get a skill or get an education and then get a job. Yes, hello? Hello?
No, could you go on? Go on.
Okay.
Please, everybody should unmute.
Yeah, so we're all taught to, get a certificate, get a skill, get a job, and then get a salary. Then at the end of 60 years, you will go on retirement and start getting your pension. I came up with a little equation for that. So the reward you are getting today, which is most likely your salary, is your skill multiplied by the number of hours or the time that you are spending on a job. So for example, in my law firm here, we bill by what we call the billable hours. So if you bring a job and one senior, one intermediate, one junior lawyer work on it, that's 3 lawyers with legal skills multiplied by the number of hours that they spend, and you are billed. Then you pay us. That is our survival salary. There's somebody who's a medical doctor. I remember the last time I was with Titus and he was telling me about his hospital and how things are going there. It's about how many hours a doctor is spending there for locum or something, and then he's paid for that. Somebody's a lecturer. So it's about how many hours you are using your skill to work, and then you get survival income. The truth, as I'm sure you're aware, is that nobody has been able to do the wild things with survival income. It will give you survival income, and if the skill required is a little higher or the time is more, you get slightly higher reward. But it's also limited by the regular ends in life. Age will limit it. By 60 years, you can't earn an income. I mean, I remember my father, for those of you who met my father, very, powerful, sharp working guy. He's past 60. He's been home for the last about 12 years or so. He is not earning survival income like how he was used to. And that's the story of many of our parents. So age will catch up with you. Sometimes ill health can catch up with you. You are, working very hard now, doing very well. It's an accident or a health challenge and you can't go to work anymore. That money is not coming. Sometimes even technology. A friend of mine who owns an IT solutions company, the last time was telling me that he's closed down his call center. The call center used to employ over 25 people who work 24 hours. So 25 times 3, that'd be like 75 people. He's closed it down. They are all gone home. Why? Because artificial intelligence today allows him to actually use his voice to record various voice prompts and take calls without having human beings that he will pay. So imagine somebody who is selling their skill of answering phones for a certain number of hours in a day. They're out of a job now. And then you can have redundancy. We remember some of the difficult things that have happened in this country, and some industries have become redundant. You could just lose your job because of that. The economy could go down, and you end up not earning the survival income. So if you are focusing on survival income, or that is what is still the in thing, it has its limitations. But if you're looking on the wealth side, so that one, you're not trading your skill and your time for survival or return. That one, you are putting in place an asset. So doing an investment is putting in place an asset. Which asset will work for you? Right now, many of us are working for money. We're trying to encourage that we move to a point where our money creates an asset, and the asset will rather work for you. So that whether you're 60 or above, or you're not healthy, or there's new technology, or there's redundancy, your money will still be working for you and you are earning something. And there are various types of these investments. You could do financial investments. I'll spend some time on that one. You could do what we sometimes call co-investments on the equity front. So you can have two people coming together, that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people coming together, that, Charlie, we want to open this business. So let's co-invest. I bring some, you bring some, everybody brings some, and we create the business and give it to somebody to run. So you could do co-investment, or you could do full equity investment yourself, that you personally want to set up this business or that business, and you kind of do it. But whatever it is, those who are doing investments, if those investments are managed well, and I want to put in the caveat, if those investments are managed well, is no longer subject to those limitations of age and all of those things. Their investments will be working for them. Now, even in uncertain times like this, when cost of living is high, the economy has been turbulent for a while now, it is a good time. In fact, I dare say one of the best times to invest. The reason is that in times like this, there are a lot of problems. And like they say, Ghanaians, by the time you find 3 or 4 Ghanaians having a conversation, they are conversing about problems. So there are a lot of problems around us. But as you do know, problems, actually, if you flip them on the other side, are opportunities. If the guy can figure out a way to solve that problem and get paid for it, then he's turned that problem into an opportunity. The story is told of the guy who went to sell shoes, or who was asked to go sell shoes, and came back and said, nobody wears shoes there, they won't buy it. And then it was given to another salesperson who went and came back and said, nobody wears shoes there, so I have a full market, 100% market, I can sell to them. So now the upside of uncertain times is that there are a lot of problems. And the problems, if you can be sharp enough to find how to solve those problems become opportunities. The other thing, for those of you in particular who do, or who are interested in financial investments or real estate or other even asset-driven businesses, you'll find out that in difficult times, value of assets are cheap. So somebody has a building, times are hard, he wants to sell it. He won't sell it at the normal price. He'll sell it at what we call the for sale value. And so the same building that would have cost you maybe $200,000, you may be able to get it for $150,000, because we're in uncertain times, times are hard, and usually value of assets is cheap. The turbulence on the financial markets is such that somebody is holding a paper but wants liquidity out of it, and is willing to discount it. I mean, quite recently, there were haircuts in the financial sector. Today, I was just reading that T-bill subscriptions or T-bill auctions are not being fully subscribed. So somebody holding financial paper says, I want to get rid of this paper. He's willing to sell at a discount. And then also, in these uncertain times, majority of people are hesitant to invest. And so the regular type of competition you see in the investment environment, because it's uncertain, people want to take less risk. So the regular competition you will find in the market space at this time, actually sometimes, or very often, people hold back. So people rather move their money to buy gold and keep the gold, or some will try and buy Forex and keep the Forex. I don't think it's a good thing to do Forex. If you want to hedge, buy gold and hope that the gold prices don't come down. But the thing is that as people move away from regular investments because of the uncertainty, there's less competition, and there's therefore the higher likelihood that you'll find something good. Now, there are a few things to note at this point. Whatever investment you're going to make, the first thing that you need to answer is how much savings or how much capital you have for that investment. And I'll later go through the various levels. I've classified it into about 4 levels. So how much savings do you have that you are going to be able to make for that investment? Is it 20,000? Is it 50,000? Is it 100,000? Because you see, when you flip it and look at the type of investment you want to do, you have to answer the question, how much capital do I have for this investment? There's something you see that is nice, some business idea that you have, but it requires some capital. So how much capital do you have? It's one of the first questions that you need to take time to answer. And then the other question is, how much time do you have for this investment? If, let's say, you do the kind of job where you have a lot of time on your hands and therefore you can find a lot of time to keep an eye on your investment, and the investment is the type that requires oversight, you are in one place. If, let's say, you are a banker, for example, you're working 8 to sometimes 8, or you're a lawyer, you're working 8 to 8, and there's very little time that you're going to spend keeping an eye on your investment, then you know that you need to go for investments that don't require so much time. So apart from the money, there's also the question of how much time. And time is not just hours. It's also about, in this context, it's also about the skill set that you require to supervise your business. Some businesses don't require difficult supervision. Some require some higher level of skill to supervise it. And then finally, one of the questions I find very interesting is, what is your risk or appetite level? I know people who can borrow $1 million and do business with it, or invest $1 million into a business. He's not worried. And then I know people too who, if you say you should bring 30,000 cedis for an investment, say, so it's about their risk or appetite level. You need to be honest with yourself. What is your risk or appetite level? And your risk or appetite level often is also because of the type of resource you are using to capitalize a business. So typically they try and teach us that, oh, make savings. And then from your savings, you can capitalize your business. There are also those who say that I'll borrow. The thing I want to do is 400,000 cedis. I'll borrow the money and do the business and supervise it well so that it makes profit. Then I can pay the 400,000 and then make profit. They have high risk or appetite levels. So one of the questions you need to answer for yourself is, what is your risk or appetite level? Now, like I said, I've classified, what I call the investment opportunities around us into just 4 quick levels. Level 1 is what I call the lowest competition opportunities. That one, the barrier to entry. When I say competition here, I'm actually referring to the barrier to entry. The barrier to entry is so low. Anybody can do it. And it's usually a basic thing around you. So sometimes it's just a little shop that you want to open and stock it with everyday goods. Sometimes it's maybe, just a little business around you that you want to do. It doesn't require any extra skill. It doesn't require any extreme capital. You don't require any extraordinary supervision skills. So you can find a basic person who is finished JSS or senior high school and let him run that business for you. And then you invest just a certain minimum amount of money. You don't need to supervise it too much. And then it will function. So let's say a little store in your neighborhood. In my neighborhood, I know a colleague who just set up a shop that just does electricity. Well, this is before all of this online electricity payment. So he set up a shop. You send your card there, go and load your card and then come and buy. It was just a little shop. You didn't need any super intelligent person to do it. So the investments that don't require a lot of capital, a lot of specialized skill to mobilize and don't require you, the supervisor, to also have so much skill and time. I call them level 1 investments, and anybody can do them. You just have to give it minimal supervision. The level 2 investments require what I call specific skills. So I know one of our colleagues, for example, has been doing farms. You require a certain understanding of farming to be able to do that. When I tried farming when I started farming a couple of years ago, I wanted to do a maize plantation up north, but I didn't know anything about farming. I just threw money at it and asked somebody to go and handle it. And I didn't even know I didn't have the skill to supervise it. So I wasn't too clear about, when to apply fertilizer, when to do this, when to do anything he tells me, I say yes, then I release the money. Out of about 30 acres of maize that we did, I think we got less than about 10 acres back because the rest, there was there was a rainstorm that ended up flooding some parts of the farm, and all the seedlings willowed. So there are those that require some specific skill to be able to execute or to be able to supervise. And sometimes they require also a higher level of capital. So something as simple as a barbering shop, you can't put anybody there. You need somebody who at least knows how to barber, or like a hairdressing salon, or for the ladies, where they go and do their pedicure and manicure. Somebody said their handicure and legicure, where they go and do it. You require somebody who has a skill to do that. And then you supervising, apart from the resources you are putting in, you also require a certain understanding of that industry to be able to supervise it. Those are level 2 opportunities. The level 3 opportunities that I describe are the ones that require some intermediate capital. The capital required is decent. You are talking about something where you need anywhere between 30,000 and about 150,000. And that's what I'll call a level 3 opportunity. You also need some enhanced skills to be able to do that job. And you also need some higher management skills. So that's where you now require Excel sheets and a few things to be able to pay attention, have a business model, and those things. Those are what I call level 3 opportunities. So something like an advertising agency is a technical area. If you don't understand how to go about it, it's not something you can do. Something like running a pharmacy. Yes, you can hire a chemist, but you see that chemist must have some particular skill, and the capital required is not the same as starting a farm. And you who wants to supervise, you must have a certain understanding of the industry. One of our colleagues is running a school. One of our colleagues is running water businesses. Some of our other colleagues have advertised their businesses. I'll put those at level 3 businesses, because you require a certain technical understanding to do it. You require higher capital, and then you also require a certain higher managerial ability. And then finally, I'll come to level 4 investment. That one is where you require some big capital. And then you also require some expertise. You need some heightened skills. So somebody wants to run a hospital. You need to have some expertise, either as a doctor or as a director of medical services, to be able to run a hospital. So to set up and run a hospital. All these machines, a defibrillator here, incubator there, you need high-level capital, high-level understanding. Or an IT solutions company, or a financial institution, or a law firm, you need high-level capital, high-level understanding, and high-level supervision. So if you are thinking about investments, even in the midst of turbulent times, I'm encouraging you that there's a reason for which now is a good time for you to invest. I'm encouraging you, if you look at the previous slide, that look at how much you have or you can raise, look at how much time and skill you have to supervise it, and ask yourself how much risk or appetite do you have. And when you are done, I recommend to you to think of it in these different levels. Usually it's best to start from level 1. You do it, you run a little shop, you do some business, the boys will chop your money, but after a while, you begin to see the little tricks in it. Then you can diversify and do something at level 2, level 3 here. But sometimes when you start, you haven't run a business before, you start boom from 0 to level 4, your chances of failure are higher. It's also easier if the business is connected to the kind of industry in which you are now working. If you're in an industry, let's say as an IT person, then it means you understand the industry. If you can find the capital to then go and set up your own IT solutions company, or if you're a doctor and you want to go and set up your own hospital, it means you are there already. But typically, it's not advisable that you haven't got skills or experience in business and then you just get up that you are going to level 4. Now, these are the equity businesses. So either you are co-investing with somebody or you are doing full equity investments. On the other side, you can do what we call the financial market investments. So there's somebody who says that, Charlie, me, I don't get time to run business. I get some 20 or 40,000. I want to go buy T-bills. So I'm going to buy T-bills and I'll sit down and I'll watch the rate. T-bill rates have come down about, I think, 14, 15% or so. So when they say under subscription, what it means is that a lot of the people who would have gone to buy T-bills, now they are looking at T-bills and saying that, Charlie, the rate is not attractive. So I don't want that one. You could also do commercial paper. You could do bonds as well. But typically, those are the money market instruments. So for example, your bank can sell you its own money market instruments. So they have their own 30-day paper or 60-day or 90-day paper, which is usually, let's say, T-bill plus something. And then they can also sell you the government's treasury bills. But all of those are money market instruments. Then there's a capital market. So in Ghana, the capital market is not very active because a lot of investors on the capital market buy the assets or invest in the assets to hold. They are not doing what you find happening on the Western stock markets, where they buy, they watch how the market is performing, and then they sell, and then they make a margin in there. Or when they realize that the market is getting turbulent, they'll make a margin call, drop the price and sell and cash out. So for those who run asset management companies, investment companies, hedge funds, you will find that they are playing a lot on the capital market. So in Ghana, there are quite a number of asset management companies, investment companies. You'll find the Ghana Stock Exchange as well. So for those who say that, okay, I don't want to have time to supervise my business or anything, I just want to invest in something that gives me returns, you may want to go for commercial paper. And for commercial paper, whether it's money market or capital markets, you are looking at the lower levels of risk. So usually on the left side, you find treasury bills with the lowest risk, followed by bonds, and then you go all the way into the equity space. And for equity, if you go and buy shares in a company and the company collapses, we'll see Kanashi. But if you buy T-bills, you know that government will always honor its T-bill obligations. Recently, yes, we've had a very unpalatable exercise of, restructuring or giving haircuts to some of the bonds. Until then, the bonds were a very safe space. But now because of that, people are shaky. But I still say that it's one of the best places because I don't see any government. I mean, we did it and it's part of why we lost power. I don't see any government going to do that very quickly. It's a suicide mission. So bonds, I think, are safe that you want to put your money in. So you could do the equity investments and that one, pay attention to the levels, or you could do the financial markets. But whatever it is, you want to get to a space where you have some money that is working for you instead of you just working for money because of age, ill health, and all of those things. So what does the law say? The law, if you look at the new Companies Act that has been passed, spells out different types of companies, private companies and public companies. It spells out what we call limited liability companies, and then we have unlimited companies. But it also talks about the sole proprietorship and the partnership. So let me quickly touch on these ones, and I'll come to my last part that I want us to finish on and take your questions. So whatever business you want to do, you can choose to go in as a sole proprietor. So you register as a sole proprietor and you run the business. It's something enterprise, and then you run the business. So like the level 1 investment that we were discussing, maybe running a little store or a Momo joint or a place where they buy, electricity coupons, etc. Even though now these apps are making it redundant. Assuming you went somewhere there, my advice would be that register a sole proprietorship and do it. It's not something that you need to stress yourself about. But that one, the challenge is that you and the business are the same. If the business owes somebody, you owe somebody. They can come for you directly to pay those bills. But it's one of the easiest ones to pick up and run. So it has its own advantages and disadvantages. And I would say that depending on the level of investment you are doing, preferably level 1, you are opening a barbering shop, a hairdressing salon or something like that, I think it's easy to go with a sole proprietorship. If you are doing co-investment with somebody, one of the ways you could go will be to go through a partnership. So there are rules on having a partnership where 2 or more persons, I think not more than 20, come together, create a partnership, often with unlimited liability. There are those that want to do partnerships with limited liability, but that's in some other jurisdiction. Here mostly is with unlimited liability. And you come together as partners, you put up your capital and you run the business. Especially if it's unlimited liability, like in the Ghanaian jurisdiction, we often do. Again, it means that if the partnership owes somebody, you owe somebody. But if it is in other jurisdictions, for example, where you have the limited liability partnerships, what they call the LLPs, you will find that the partnership has a separate has a separate legal status from the people or the promoters or the partners within the partnership. And then you have the third, which is my favorite that I want to recommend to you, a company. A company may be limited or unlimited in terms of liability. And what it essentially means is that if the company has liability, the liability of the company is limited to the quantum of the shares that have not been paid up by the shareholders. Once the shareholders have fully paid up their shares into the company, it's a closed box. It has a separate legal entity that is dealing with you. So anytime you see something company limited, in law, they will say caveat emptor, buyer beware. It means that the liability of the shareholders to the company is limited to the amount of shares and the contribution they are supposed to make. Once they have finished that one, if the company owes you and the company can pay, you can't pierce the veil and go behind it to go and look for them. It's a closed box like that. But we still have unlimited liability companies. So usually the companies that are limited by guarantee, they're also described as unlimited liability companies. So for example, our law firm is a public unlimited company because of the nature of business in which we are. And you will find that typically the charities, etc., are unlimited. I want to recommend to you that think about a company. Company doesn't mean something big. You can form a company with capital 10,000, 20,000, but there are a lot of benefits in having a company as your investment vehicle. A company is therefore the vehicle you have created for purposes of your investment. On one side, it allows you to invest and do business. On the other side, it also protects you so that people don't come through the company to look for you, assuming even the companies had challenges. And one of the things I want to recommend is that you go for a limited liability company. And here, may I add that if any of our brothers wants legal work in supporting you to set up a limited liability company, we'll do it for you for free here at Nkrumah and Associates. That's my firm from which I'm speaking to you from. But I want to encourage you to look more towards a limited liability company. It has a separate legal entity, as I mentioned. You get to appoint skilled directors. So if you've set up a company as your investment vehicle, and you don't even have all the skills, you can appoint people who have the skill as directors of the company, and they can supervise the investment you are going to make for you. So it's a separate legal entity, so it protects you. You can also appoint skilled directors to oversee the affairs of the business that you have invested in. You are also required by law to file various categories of annual returns. What that does is that it also forces you to keep proper accounts and records so that you have clarity of whether the company is making profits or losses and how those profits hopefully are adding up to your retained earnings and growing your investment. So you may have started with 50,000 cedis to set up a company and put some people who understand that particular industry on board. And in a year or two, because of the profits they've made, it's now 55,000. So you are growing your money, 55,000, 60,000, 80,000, 90,000, 100, 200, 300, then it's going. That money is working for you, as against you just working for your money. And if you pay attention to the preparation of annual returns, etc., you can do that. Another trick that many people also don't know is that when you have a company, you are allowed to put some expenses within the company. One of my former bosses that I worked for, he had a company. What he did was that his household staff, from his private driver to cleaners and everything, he all made them employees of the company. So the salespeople go and sell, they make the revenues, and he uses some to pay his household expenses. A lot of expenses that ordinarily you yourself have to carry. You can put it in the company and it's tax allowable. So it allows you to cater for some expenses as well. So colleagues, once again, I really strongly recommend to you that think about forming a company. As I've mentioned, Nkrumah and Associates, if you were Pojoba, Nkrumah and Associates will do it for you for free. We will also do the corporate secretarial services that you require. This is my last slide, and then I'll wrap up. So I think that the first point I've tried to make to you is that investing is important generally for all of us, because age will catch up with us. The body is not ours. We'll get weak at some point. There are all sorts of circumstances that occur that make it difficult to work every day and make money. So it's important that you think, dear Pojoba, about some investments that you will set up, which will work for you. And if you've done it already, great. But if you haven't, it's not late at all. There are a lot of people, I mean, they say life begins at 40. We are just averaging 40. So let's assume that life is now beginning. But it's not late at all. Now is a good time to actually set up something. Number two is these turbulent times could be the best times to invest. And I've tried to explain. Assets are cheaper at this time. There's less competition because people are moving out of the investment space because of the uncertainty, among other things. So turbulent times like this can be some of the best times to invest if you are able to look out well and see what you're doing. My recommendation to you is set up an investment company. Everybody who is here, I think you owe it to your children and the generations after you to set up some small investment company and use that company to invest in a few things, at least about 3 things that are diversified to grow that money. Because by the time the kids get to university, the amount of money you want to pay, you don't want to start calling family members and friends that Charlie, your mommy ban admission or how you say, mintia 20,000 CDs or 30,000 CDs at a go, which I can't find. So the earlier you think about doing something, the better. And I think that setting up an investment company to do that is the best way to go. Under that one, I'll treat just 5 quick things. Number 1, how much capital do you have for that type of investment that you want to make? You can either save and invest, or if you have a high appetite for risk, you can borrow and invest. One of my businesses that I invested in, I borrowed money. I put my house out for a mortgage, took money, and invested in the business. The business did 3 investments. 1 collapsed, 2 survived. At least from the 2 that survived, we were able to build from there. That's if you have high risk appetite. If you don't, maybe you want to use your savings. But you know, in Ghana, our savings are small. So think about that again. Number 2, yes, I've mentioned define your risk appetite. Number 3, you have to spend time to test the market of the investment that you want to do. So you want to do an investment for, to set up a little shop to sell maybe electricity credit or telephone credit. What is the market like? Today, people are moving from going to shops to do it, to doing it on their phone. They're either buying credit on their phone or, getting the Momo transactions done on their own phone. Hardly do they go and stand somewhere to do it. So what is the market looking like? If somebody says, come and open a comm center. I remember those days in Pokwasi, my father, opened a comm center. Those days, it was difficult to come by phone. So if you open comm center, Oputu won't go calling girl, they go pay, 5 cities, 10 cities, then they'll clock, then they'll pay. What's the market like today? That market, nobody will come because everybody has a mobile phone. So test the market and be sure that the thing you want to invest in, there's a good market for it. Also test the competition in the market. There are some markets in which it's so competitive, you won't survive. And the people there are so aggressive. Last time I was talking to somebody who said, so he wants to go and bring mobile phones to come and sell. I'm like, Charlie, have you gone to Tiptoe to go and see them? There are so many competitors. They are doing all sorts of things. I don't know if you can survive unless you have a niche in that space. So test the market, test the competition. And then also ask yourself, how much time do I have? Do I want to be an active or a passive investor? Do I want to be there every Friday or every Saturday? I have a friend who owns a restaurant. Every Saturday morning, she goes to the restaurant to go and see the business they've done for the week. Check this, check that, check that, check that. Do you have that time to do that? Or are you the type who wants to see the guy running your business at the end of the year? So are you an active investor or a passive investor? I think the word is passive, not passionate. These are some of the things that I think you should think about. But I want to really tell you that even in the midst of turbulent times, think about investing, and the time to start is now. One of my lawyers here, anytime we go for a conference and we discuss something, and then you tell him that, Charlie, let's go. Then you say, let's go. So colleagues, let's go. Let's do the best that we can at this time. Time is on our side. Justice and the rest of our colleagues, thank you for the opportunity.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Kojo Oppong for those priceless words. I think we've all learned a lot from the rather brief presentation. Colleagues, I think while Kojo was presenting, I took some time to put some of the nuggets in the chat box. For want of time, I will not repeat them. I'll give you rather an opportunity to ask your questions. We'll take the questions in terms of 3. So the first 3 questions, and then we'll take the next 3 questions if time permits. And then hopefully we'll bring this to a successful end. But I think the message is clear to all of us. Yes, we are in turbulent times, but these are the times that you necessarily need to invest and you yield the benefits. Are you an active investor or a passive investor? One of the gifts that Kojo has given us today is to suggest to us that all who want to register their businesses as limited liability companies should get in touch for free. You can only get this here. And Kojo, we are grateful for that gesture. And on this note, I'll take the questions. I see Rock. I don't know who that is, but Rock, you may
Rocky.
And ask your question.
Jude.
But please let's make it brief. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kojo. Very nice presentation. I think my my question really is in regards to some of us that are in the diaspora that have been coming back home. I mean, we've got one foot here and the other foot outside. And clearly, as you've mentioned, we're hovering the 40 age. So clearly, we're looking back home now more than where we are. In regards to the services that you're looking to provide, have you got anything specialized for those people in the diaspora? Because one thing that we finding very difficult is being able to trust people that we can work with here. I've got two businesses here. I've got an ice block machine at a cold store. That's the first one, and other one is obviously, you know, I specialize in IT. I work with Bank of England, so I specialize in what's it called, automation and AI sector, and I'm looking to bring that to Ghana as well. So that is, I'm thinking about maybe forming a partnership. So I wanted you to maybe talk about forming partnership, like liability company, but as a partnership as well, and what is involved in getting those sort of things set up in Ghana as well. The last question is is regards to taking risk outside. Obviously, Ghana has never been in a position where we're not able to, you know, pay our, you know, our bills, or but we found out in your administration that something like that happened. So bringing back that kind of confidence, what kind of things else can we actually invest in that we know that, like, you know, like the T-bills that you mentioned, that those in the diaspora can be able to invest whilst they are outside and be able to say, okay, can you just buy maybe 1,000 of these for me? And there's a track record of that actually happening. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Kojo, I think this question is quite a lengthy one. Do you want to take it, or I can add on?
Yeah, I think let's add two more. Let's add two more, then I'll take the first three.
Okay, great stuff. So, John Apia, kindly unmute and ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Honorable, for the wonderful presentation. Honorable, you've had the opportunity to sort of taste both worlds, private sector and then working in the government. Is it possible for some of us who may not so much be interested in government business to exclusively focus on private sector and still be able to make enough money and, as it were, prosper? I would want a very practical answer to that, so that for those of us who are thinking that we can just focus on private sector, do business within the private sector without necessarily engaging for government contracts and government business. Does it work that way, or it's prudent to at least have a fair share of both worlds? Thank you.
Thank you, John. Kojo, Ofoase.
All right, thank you very much. My question is in two parts, but I'll take the most important one first so that we don't forget it. So what would be your advice to, let's say, you're working towards a global business, your partners are outside, they're currently not ready due to the foreign partnership clauses, the GIPC, all those big capital intensive engagements. What would be your suggestion on how to approach it? And let's say if you're looking at a year to two, when the foreign investors are likely to come into country, what actions do you take now? And what would be your advice? And then the second one, which is more or less been already asked, is how prudent is it for partnership in forming companies by limited guarantee? Because again, we've had too many issues of partnerships failing. So if you form a partnership and form a company and there's a fallout, how do you manage it? So what would be your advice? Thank you.
Thank you. Kojo?
Yes,
Over to
sir.
you.
So let me start from the question about the diasporans, the bogus, who want to bring big dollar into town. I hear now they are not happy that the dollar has come down because it means that the money is reduced. I think for our colleagues in the diaspora, the first thing is that you don't have time to spend on a business in Ghana. So chances are that you are better off looking at the capital markets or the money markets because you don't have a lot of time to supervise a business in Ghana. And in Ghana, if you have a business and you don't supervise it well, your money may go down the drain. The other thing is that even if you're going to do an equity business, how much trust do you have in the persons who are running the business as an individual or even as a board or something? So there's a question of trust. I think that you should, first of all, go for some commercial paper because it's easier. You get an asset management company, you open an account, you put your money in, they sell various products to you, you know your return on investment, but there's very little wahala. And you can start small. As you make more money, you add to it. But if you want to do an equity business, I think that what you need to do is to look for a company that has credibility in that area and explore whether or not they'll be willing to have you, we use the word loosely as partner, but actually means invest. So a company that has reputation in a particular area that you want to invest in, you may want to invest in that company or work with that company or partner with that company to deliver. I think the commercial papers are safe. The government knows that it can't default on T-bills because that's the only financing option that we're using in the fiscal framework currently. So your T-bills, I think, will be honored by government. And I even think that on the bond market, you shouldn't be too scared because no government will want to do another debt exchange program. So even on the bond market, you should be comfortable currently. So to our colleagues in the diaspora, I'll say go to the money or capital markets. If you want to go into the equity space, find a trusted business that operates in that space and explore how you can invest in that business if they are willing to take your investment, take up some shares in that business so that you are not starting greenfield. There's already brownfield, but because you are interested in the industry, you are planting a foot there. But if you want to set up a business yourself and run, bear in mind the things you need to make available are the time and then appointments of people who are trustworthy and credible so that your money doesn't go down. There was a second question about government business and private business. So, there are three levels of business. There's the business to government, what we call B2G. So you are a business that is working for government. You're a contractor building roads for government or for the housing ministry or supplying some goods to government, B2G. People like B2G because they say B2G businesses are big. One deal you go fit hit, boom like that. But the risk is that government doesn't pay contractors on time. Our governments are fiscally constrained. There's not so much money, so they don't pay contractors on time. So you can go and borrow and do the business for government, and they'll take a year before they pay you. So B2G may look attractive. It has its risks. Then there's B2B, business to business. So you're a business, but your clients are other businesses. I think that is pretty safe, except that one you have to look for what I'll call blue chip companies or credible businesses. If your client is MTN, you'll be paid every day. If your client is maybe ECG, you'll be paid at any point in time. So business to business, Absa Bank, all of these blue chip companies, if they are your customers, you can be home and dry. But I think that the most reliable part of the pie that you should chew on, or the most reliable part of the framework you should operate in, is business to customer, B2C. So like our colleague who sells water, it's one of the best things to do, business to customer. So you do your products, You market and then you sell. Sales and marketing are two different things. Usually people confuse them. Selling is the exercise of then you hit the revenue target. Marketing and advertising is making noise about it. Far nice. It doesn't necessarily translate into sales. I'm sure when you were young, like myself, you remember the people passing your area and, hawking something and nobody's buying. So sales and marketing are two different things. B2C, you have to sell baku. But what it does, it gives you credibility in the market. Your business doesn't depend on any government. Your business doesn't depend on any minister. Nobody will, delay you. It's you selling to your individual customers, and your customers are democratized. Coca-Cola doesn't care about who is MP or who is president because people will buy Coke. Alomo Betas, they don't care. People will buy. Those who are selling things that ordinary customers buy, a pen, a phone, a book, they really don't care about government. So I think that one of the safest places to play is B2C. It's more difficult, but it's more rewarding in the medium to long term. And so that'll be my answer. Then the third one, so for those looking for global partners, it takes a while for global partnership to come together. In the meantime, two things that I'll say is that keep pitching. Kweku, I know you are a resilient person. You should expect to get a lot of no's and no's and no's. People will say, no, we can't do it. But you should keep pitching. A good investor will come through. But the other side is that while you are pitching, you try and start a proof of concept that is running. Sometimes an investor may not come through, but a financial institution may say, I see your model, I see your revenues. I want to discount your account receivables for you, or I'm willing to give you a loan with which you can expand your business. So don't stop pitching, but don't stop and wait for investors. Do something as well. And instead of a limited liability partnership, I will advise that go for a limited liability company where the rights and obligations of all the subscribers of the company or the shareholders is clearly defined. The shareholding structure is clearly defined. Even minority rights, if they have to be put there, in law, the view is that somebody may be the majority shareholder and he will be oppressing the minority shareholder. Whatever you say, he says, okay, let's vote. When you say vote, I'll bury. So you can have minority rights protection clauses in the constitution of the company or in the shareholders agreement, and it protects you. But I think it's better that way because the liabilities are limited. You have a board. You're able to agree on a business plan and budget for the year, what is allowable and what is not allowable. People's powers are clear. Nobody can take you for a ride. Those would be my answers. I hope I haven't spoken too much.
Honorable, just a follow-up question to one of your answers,
I guess
if I'm permitted.
Would also answer other people's questions. Kweku, you have a follow-up?
Yes, so with respect to the global partners, so this is an opportunity of an enterprise that wants to penetrate the African market. Discussions are far going, but readiness is time-bound. It depends on how locally regulators and all of that come through. But whilst you wait for that process, because in case you want to start conversations by mentioning you have foreign partners, the GIPC regulations and all of that would require some capital. So whilst you are waiting for that, though you're sure that this is going to go through, what is your advice in preparation for that business?
So what I would say is that if the capital is not too much and you can start, so that by the time your people come, there's something that is already existent and they don't have to go through the process of now setting up a company and other things. So just buy into what you have started already. You have also taken a leap in the market. So you have some market intelligence, which brings more value to them. And they can then invest in your business and dilute you down to maybe about 10% or whatever. But you've started and you have a stake in this big thing that they are coming to do. So don't wait, start. We can hear your baby crying. While at that, I see a few questions that have been sent by text. So maybe while we wait to take the next ones, let me
if I may.
Sorry, before that, I just want to be sure that Koku is fine now.
I wanted to add something.
Kwame, Just a minute. Kweku, are we okay?
Yes, Justice, I'm fine now. I will take the
Okay.
rest on the pro bono Honorable has given. Thank you.
Nice
The
one.
Kwame is from GIPC, and I think he wants to make a quick point.
Yes, so Kwame.
Yes, thank you,
You may
Justice.
go
Thank you,
ahead.
Kojo, for the presentation. Grateful for this. So we here at the GIPC are looking at reworking our law and taking away the regulatory requirement of minimum capital. So I can tell you as brothers that we have started the process of reworking our law. The plan is to get rid of this capital requirement. Hopefully it goes through Parliament, Kojo, when it gets to you guys. And of course, there will be an exception when it comes to the activity of general trading, where we are trying to limit foreigners from playing in that sector. But for the other services and other sectors, we are seeking to do that. I don't know, I can't give timelines. You know how it is with the passage of laws in this country. So Kweku, maybe you want to also buy some time and see how it goes. But hopefully, we are looking to push this through very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. That's quite refreshing. Thank you. Kojo, I'm sure you may have some comments to pass on that.
I think Kwame has dealt with it well. I just want to comment on some of the questions. So Elvis was asking a question.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
In the chat box, I see a question from Elvis and another from Wilfred. One is asking how they can unlock 4 million CDs, while the other is also asking how they can invest $1 million. I'm sure you advise them on where
So
to
I don't
do.
have an advisory services license on investment, so I cannot advise them. In Ghana, according to the SEC regulations, if I'm going to give somebody advice on money, I must be licensed, else I'll get into trouble. But I think that, so Elvis, you want to ask yourself, the 4 million that you want to use to buy a property in and outside Ghana, what is the purpose? Are you buying that property to hold for yourself? Or are you buying it as an investment so that you will rent it out and make returns on it? Real estate is very good as an investment because the value of the asset appreciates while it's sitting there. You don't run a lot of costs on it, and rather when people come and occupy it, they rather pay you, net profit in terms of rent. So real estate is good. But you want to ask yourself, why do you want 4 million to buy the house? Is it for you yourself, or is it for investment purposes? If it is for investment purposes, then the simple rule of thumb is that over a 10-year period, can you recover your money from that purchase? If you can, and somebody will be willing to give you a loan where the principal plus interest can be recovered over 10 years, it's a good rule of thumb. For me, it's a good rule of thumb that you can follow. So if you have your own savings, brilliant. If you don't have your savings, but you can show clearly that I'm going to buy this property and rent it out, and over a period, the property will pay for itself, average about 10 years. It's something that I think investment people may be willing to look at. But unless you are like a company who is earning revenues, about 40% of which is 4 million over a period, I'm not sure a bank will give you 4 million just to go and buy a property like that. Maybe some persons who want to do venture capital or private equity may be willing to do that. Wilfred Ofori is asking if you currently have 1 million.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I have a follow-up on that. I asked a question. Actually, it's a school at Kasua. Somebody is selling the school.
Okay.
And I also have a school at Ofoase.
Okay.
And the school is going for 4 million. But looking at the location, it's close to the barrier. So it's a good stuff. But I'm just looking at how I can raise that 4 million cities, whether in Ghana or outside Ghana.
Okay.
How to raise that money? That's my headache now. Thank you.
Come on, let's talk. Because
thank you, sir.
Because you have already got a school that has revenue flows, and it shows clearly how the revenues are coming in term by term, and your expenditure, and therefore what your margins are. So it's very easy to model how you already do your business, and then to compare to the capacity of the new school it can be modeled, and we can clearly see that if you get 4 million, you can pay back by this period. And then we can find some options. So yours is not to buy a house, it's to buy a business. And that one, private equity people or venture capital people, there are quite a number of them in town. They'll be happy to do it. I know education is one of the investments that those in private equity like. So some of them can give you money. We can talk to some of them to give you money, but it means that they will be co-owners with you. And then after a certain period, you can buy them out. So you use their money to expand your business, and they will also get a higher value for their money, maybe in 4 years or 5 years, or by the time they are pulling out. So obviously, come and let's talk. Why?
Honorable, I'll be coming tomorrow. Thank you, sir. No, I'll come Wednesday. Thank you, sir.
But Mpacho say, who are they? I'm kakrendi why? There's a question from Wilfred. He says, if you have $1 million, how would you distribute your investment in this current market environment in Ghana? Well, Wilfred, again, I can't give you specific things to do with it. It's about how much time do you have? What is your appetite for investment? And then you can look around. If you want to do the, may I say, the money markets or the capital markets, that is a fixed income market. You have clarity that I put this in, this is the return I'm getting. You go to bed on it. If you want to do equity-related businesses, there are two levels. You can go to the stock exchange through your broker and buy shares of companies that are doing well, or you yourself invest like Elvis. So Elvis is looking for 4 million. You have 1 million. So if you make it available and we can see the return, and the return is higher than inflation and is comparative to what T-bills are paying or higher than what T-bills are paying, I'll say maybe we should give the money to Elvis so that what Elvis and I are looking for is just 3 million. To add to
hypothetical statement, or honorable. I don't have the cash.
But I guess you get the point I'm making.
Absolutely, you're clear.
Yes. Then this one says, what advice will you give to people who want to start business but are scared that workers will steal or run down their businesses through dishonest means? And at what stage would a business need to engage a lawyer or a law firm? Should it be only when you have business challenge, or you can have a return? I think that the first thing you should do when you're setting up a business is hire a lawyer, to be honest. It's not because I'm a lawyer. Because right from the incorporation stage, if you are working with a lawyer who can guide you that, no, this type of business you want to do, form a limited liability company or do a private unlimited company or whatever, you begin to get guidance in that area. Even things inside the company, like the constitution of the company or the shareholders agreement, if you are working with a lawyer from day one, he will help or guide you that, okay, we have to do this policy document, what are the statutory requirements? So I think that those are things that you have to do right from the beginning. Don't wait to get into trouble. And for example, when you are negotiating contracts with partners or other things, a lot of people are excited about business. OBCO, memo order for 400,000. Sometimes he hasn't even given you a contract. Then you go, oh, Osobema me order for 400,000. Then you go and borrow or order for 400,000, hoping you buy. Now, on to, and that's a problem. Be a banty on par. Now, oh yeah, so I think it's best to start with a lawyer. And not all lawyers charge through the roof. Some will do basic incorporation charges. And I even think it's better to pay a retainer. If you and your lawyer understand that, Charlie, you pay a retainer of, let's say, 4,000 cedis every quarter, or 3,000 cedis even every quarter. I believe that wealth is not one big deal. It's in little drops of water. So you pay small money as a retainer. A good law firm will collect 1,000 from you, 2,000 from this one, 4,000 from this one. Then there are the big clients who pay 10,000, 15,000. That's all. But you also get that, good service that you will get. So that's on the legal side. In Ghanaian businesses, very often people will try to steal from you. I set up a company and we invested in a microfinance company. Later, we found out that all sorts of funny things were going on in the microfinance company, some involving people who were in the company. And I'm sure you've seen stories about, I think recently there was a report on fraud in the banks, even the banks. So in Ghanaian businesses, I think you should expect that people will do that, but you have to put in place checks and balances to supervise so that people don't get away with too much of that one. And usually there are ways to set up your systems that create checks and balances. There's a maker-checker system. I'm sure Tabavi and the bankers will be able to explain it to us some more, but there's a maker-checker system that allows that not too much control is put in one person's hand. So it reduces the risk of theft, etc. But above all, you have to supervise closely so that, you get help. Elvis, Pakwitsi Mensah says that he's interested in your education investment. So maybe you should get in touch with him. And then Martin Boachi is asking, how do you assess the prospects of the BOG gold coins as a viable investment? Let me quickly land on this one. So gold is a good store of value. And the gold coin thing that the Bank of Ghana has introduced, I think is a good thing. It started somewhere last year. It's a good thing. So that if you have extra money and you are tempted to change into other currencies, rather buy gold and keep it. But you have to keep an eye on the gold prices. Gold prices have done well recently because there's been uncertainty or turbulence in the world. And so people have moved from equity and other things that shall make a buy gold. It's partly why gold prices are rising. Is it true that when things settle on the global stage, gold prices will still be at that 2,300 or something? Or when things stabilize, gold prices will come down? Those are the considerations that you have to make. But it's a good idea. Yes, sir. Justice, I'm back in your hands.
Thanks, Kojo. I know you have played the role of a moderator before and an MC, so it's okay for you to play both at this stage, a moderator and then the presenter at the same time. So we'll take Sam Oppong. Sam, please go ahead and ask your question.
Kojo, thank you very much for the wise advice and encouragement. I think my questions sort of lead towards Rocky's path a little bit. Are there specific government policy or international support or initiatives that will encourage some of investors to come to Ghana to invest without having the red tapes and to unlock some of the blockers we have? And also my last question regarding gold. I have a business partner. We've acquired a license across 350 acres of land in Ghana for mining. But currently we are at a standstill because of LODs in place and parent guarantees that are required for us to undertake our initial mining activities. Are there ways or advice you can give to unlock all these parent guarantees or LODs in place?
If I just may ask, so these guarantees are being asked for by who?
These guarantees are being asked by our local partners in Ghana. We're trying to partner with another company in Ghana rather than setting up a new organization or company in Ghana.
And they're asking you to give a guarantee before you bring your investment into their business. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's strange, because if somebody is bringing an investment...
We are new in the market. This is our first opportunity with them. And I think they want to understand where we are in terms of risk opportunities that we bring to their organization, so which is understandable. But from our point, the guarantees they put in place, looking at what they've drafted to us, looks like it is governmental led, is information chaired by or led by a governmental or policies in place rather than those organizations that we're trying to work with.
Okay, so maybe at some point you can send me a copy if you don't mind for me to have a look at,
no,
or you can give it to your lawyers also to look at. Typically, what I know is that if you are bringing your money investment to come and invest into somebody's business, the worst they want to do is a due diligence to be sure that you who are coming into their business, it's not like you are bringing some drug money or you have some shady track record or something, that they are interested in partnering with you. I use the word partnering loosely. I haven't heard of guarantees that you are bringing your investment and they want guarantees from you. You are bringing an investment already, so I don't know why they'll be asking for guarantees. But let's see it and then let's see what it is. In terms of government policy aimed at attracting investment, I'll say there are three levels. First of all, any government, it's not MPP, NDC, any government has to demonstrate that it's running a stable economy that gives investors the confidence that if I go and put my money in this country, I can do business and take my money out easily. Then the second thing is that the investment framework, what Kwame and his people manage at GIPC and the other investment laws, should be such that it is competitive. So an investor is asking himself, why should I go to Ghana and not Ivory Coast? So if the investment framework in Ivory Coast doesn't require minimum capital requirements, but the investment framework in Ghana says that if you're an FDI, pay 100 or show $100,000, then we are putting a barrier. So again, you want the investment requirements to be eased up as quickly as possible. And then sometimes you have industry-specific incentives. So a government may say that because we want to grow this industry, we are maybe removing taxes from people who play in that industry, or we are discounting electricity to them, or we are providing X or Y incentives. So depending on the sector, generally governments have them. And you can look out for your sector and see what incentives are available within that sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Kojo. And Sam, I'm sure those words from Kojo have adequately addressed the question. I don't see any hand up. Neither do I see any new chat.
Yeah, I think Pakwesi Asari has a sorry, Pakwesi Mensah has a question. He's asking. He says he had two questions. One, what is a straightforward way of buying shares or bonds on the Ghana Stock Exchange? Okay, I'll say get a broker. So open an account at an asset management company and get a broker. And the broker is licensed to advise you and will also facilitate the purchase or sale transaction for you. They can guide you that, because you know, for example, the shares on the stock exchange, there are those that make profit, but they retain a lot of it. They don't necessarily pay a lot of dividends. Then there are those who also pay very high dividends. So if your broker talks to you, he will know why you are investing, your investment appetite, how much you have, and he can advise, okay, let's buy a bit of MTN and buy a bit of Farm Milk, or let's buy more of GCB and other things. So open an account with an asset management company, talk to your broker, let him advise you after he diagnoses your investment reasons, and then he'll give you good advice. Then how can you buy the gold coins from the BOG without being scammed? Okay, so I think the process is that you go to your bank and you tell them that you want to buy gold coins. The gold coins, if I understand properly, the first port of sale from the Bank of Ghana is through the banks. So you go to your bank, you open an account, then you deposit money for whatever you want to buy, and the bank will buy on your behalf. Some of the banks have safety deposit boxes where they can even keep it for you. And some you may take it out. And that ensures that you are not scammed. I suspect that very soon after people have bought, people will try to trade it. I hope that what the banks and the Bank of Ghana will do will be to back it with a certificate. That if you are trading, there must be that certificate of transfer. If not, and you are holding somebody's gold coin, I shouldn't buy it from you because I don't know whether it's stolen or not. I hope that they've added that to it. But even if they haven't, I'd advise you buy from a bank or buy through your bank.
Can I come in?
Victor Mensah, you okay with that? Okay, Kojo, I have a question that was just sent to me privately, and with your permission, I'll read it so you can address it for us as well. And the question says, how do you transition from turbulent times to normal times, especially as the opportunities might not be the same?
I think that what you got to do is to be on a constant lookout for opportunities. So within these turbulent times, there are opportunities that are opening up and that are easier to buy into. And as things settle, we're hoping things will settle. There are economists who argue that the world is never going to settle anymore because of what they call the contagion effect. The world is so connected that one small thing in one country affects everybody elsewhere. WhatsApp can go down from their servers and it will affect so many businesses because so many businesses are doing business on WhatsApp. So because of that contagion ecosystem, there will never be stability like we knew it before. Be that as it may, we are hoping to transition to a point of stability. And there'll be new opportunities that will come at a point of stability. And in fact, some of the current opportunities will also not do well. Because what made them sell at this time no longer exists by that time. And then there are some businesses that even after uncertainty, they will now become the new normal. So the delivery business in the West and even here in Ghana has seen a sharp rise after COVID. Because during COVID, people were at home, a few kitchens will work and dispatch on a bike. And after that, it's become the new normal. So whatever it is, just be on the lookout for opportunities around you. We like talking about problems a lot, but that same problem is an opportunity. And if you keep scouting, as we get out, you will find what's good on that side.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kojo Nkrumah. I don't see any hands up. I'm hoping that the chat box is also free. Okay, so there's one live one from Wilfred, and I'm sure you can read that. You're already smiling, so I leave the response to you.
I have just responded to him.
Okay. All right. So, colleagues, on this note, I'm sure gradually we're bringing the curtains to a fall on our conversation with Honorable Kojo Nkrumah. At this point, I'd like to call on our secretary, so to share a few words with us.
In football, it depends really on Chelsea winning the Europa Conference League. Things happening in the final.
Thank you, Justice. I'm here, and thanks to the Honourable Member of Parliament Kofi, let's mute yourself the insightful information that he shared with us so far. And as Chairman has said earlier, this is going to be a series that is going to be run for quite a while, and the purpose is clear, and is to make sure that we are all viable in terms of our financial status, so that as we grow older, we are financially independent. The next line of program, we have our very own, once again, from our year group, John Paul. We have another talk from the financial sector. This is coming on Saturday, the 24th. And then we'll crown it all on Sunday, the 25th, with a health talk from a lecturer from the University of Ghana. And as we all know, whilst we're in school, we all kind of get excited when it's a lady involved. And so our Sunday lecture is going to be presented by a lady from the medical field. So that is, in the nutshell, the program of activities in line with the lectures. I must add that the business promotion that is going on our platform will continue in the course of the week for those that have registered, and the opportunity will be given for you to throw light on your businesses, and for us to also give you the platform to promote your business. Thank you.
Thank you, Kofi, for those words. I saw Stephen Asari's hand up earlier, and I was excited. I thought he was going to ask a question. Today, we celebrated Stephen Asari and his business, the JC Live Water, or JC Live Ghana Limited, who is into the production of water, bottled and or basically bottled water. And he's a Pojoba, fantastic factory setting, well according to international standards. And we encourage all of us to patronize his business. Let's help him to grow so that we can all grow together as a family. On this note, I'll call on our chairman, Oput, to give us the closing remarks.
Thank you, Justice. I'm most grateful. Kojo, thank you very much for honoring this
invitation. You've been amazing. I think we met recently in London. You confirmed your participation. In fact, it was supposed to be Sunday, but due to some few hitches, it was postponed to today. And I'm still even very much impressed with the numbers that are shown up for this meeting. We at a point we hit 71, and it's very remarkable. I thank you all. First of all, big thanks to Kojo, as I said, Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, MP for Ofoase Ayirebi, and also a lawyer, Nkrumah and Associates. We thank you for making this time or spending this time with us. It has been insightful. We've taken a lot of feedback from your presentation, and we just hope we will apply, or we hope it will be put into application, especially those in the fraternity, the business fraternity. You said man needs cash to power up, but needs more than survival resources. You also said problems are actually opportunities when flipped on the other side. And this is my takeaway for this program. Big appreciation to the executives as well. Justice, amazing. Kofi, amazing. Chuku, amazing. And Saki, the financial controller, also amazing. I thank every member of Pojoba 2000. You guys are phenomenal. It's a privilege being your humble servant. Thank you. To Pojoba and then NEC. I think NEC, the National Secretary, was on the line, but I think he said doom so his gadgets are off. But big thanks to Pojoba, any Pojoba who joined. We appreciate you, and we give you all the maximum applause. We want to state that the lecture series, that's the Pojoba 2000 Forum, is here to stay. And the business promotion is also here to stay. Our aim is to promote Pojoba businesses globally. And we will be intentional about it. We'll be deliberate about it. We want our mates to be CEOs in the next 10 years so that we all be comfortable. And these are the people who will be employing our sons and daughters. So it's a deliberate thing we are doing. And we call on every Pojoba to support. I also want to touch about the legacy project. Every opportunity we do that. Every talk we do that. And we cannot talk about the legacy project when I don't acknowledge all of you, the support you've given. It's amazing. Most of the participants here are amazing. You've given a lot to this project. I think we are at the roofing now. Block work is almost completed. We are at the roofing, electrical stage, and then we do plastering. We cannot overlook the input of Kojo himself. He's been amazing. In fact, he is going to be the roofer of our building. He is roofing the building, and we are so grateful to him for his benevolence as well. Thank you, Kojo. The progress of the legacy project is steady. We are calling on you to support us, to promote us by donating to the cause. I think the legacy project, Justice will add something to it, but I would say kudos to all who registered their business, all Pojoba 2000 business owners who registered their business for the business promotion. On day one, we had B Imo Homes, co-owner by Bediakon Bafo, but for his amazing big business. Honorable Elvis, Prof. A.K.S. Montessori was also on day 2. Today was Fit Life Water. If you see Fit Life Water everywhere, patronize it, purchase it, because it is a Pujoba own business, Pujoba 2000 business. And we are proud of all these gentlemen. We thank you once again for joining us. On Saturday and Sunday, we'll be back. Have a good week and take care, everybody. Thank you. Justice, over to you.
Thank you, Chairman. So the mention of Emmanuel Saki's name brings back the bit around our dues. So we want to take the opportunity to remind all of you to pay your dues. Next month will be the month that we will need to renew our policy, our group insurance policy. And it will be nice for us to do this as a family. So we encourage all of you to pay your dues timeously, so we are able to do this. It's only 360 Ghana cedis, and we believe that a lot of you would avail yourself, so we do this beautifully. In terms of the businesses that have been advertised so far, I think Opus has mentioned those ones. The rest we are going to be looking at from tomorrow, like I mentioned on the page. Pages 1 to 3 farms, which we are going to be advertising tomorrow. We'll be followed by Paro Prestige Ventures on the next day. And then we'll have Strategic Plus Solutions, St. Law Construction, there'll be WAC Welfare, Speaker's Site, among 2 others. That will be at my back pocket. Let's enjoy ourselves whilst we sort of learn from each other, and whilst we also help each other to grow their respective businesses. On this note, I'd like to say a very big thank you to you all as well for cooperation, for us to go through this this session. Yes, Oput.
Before you sign off, I would like to chip in a little bit of information. Chairman's Ball will be this year, will be in Kofoidia. I will entreat everybody to start planning towards Chairman's Ball. It's going to be big. It's going to be amazing. And let's all watch out for Chairman's Ball. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. So on this note, we'd like to bring the curtains down on our session. I'll call on who is touched by the Spirit. Shakademos, can you give us the closing prayer?
Yes, Pastor Edmond is on
Edmond is on, but I want to hear Shakademos' voice. Then Edmond can give us the benediction.
Hey, I'm here.
Angwamo, please take us home. Okay, we've heard your voice. So maybe I'll give the opportunity to Frimpong Boache Edmond, my own brother, to give us the closing prayer. Is Edmond here? Okay, I think he's dropped off as well. Chaka, would you want to take it?
All right. We are praying. We pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Heavenly Father, we are most grateful unto you for a time like this. We bless your name for giving us such brainy individuals in our midst. Father, we are thankful unto you for whatever has come forth from our speaker for today. We pray for divine wisdom and elevation. May we continue to enjoy wisdom like this from other quarters, so that together we will grow and take dominion of this world. In Jesus' name we have prayed. We continue to commit whatever is left into your hands. See us through, and may we wake up tomorrow fit and ready for action. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son,
and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you all very much. Whilst we sign off, colleagues, let's remember our Kojo National Homecoming and Speech Day 2025 is on in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. Let's all participate in it. Thank you all very much, and God bless us all. Thanks, Kojo.
Thank you, Kojo. Thank you, Justice. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. All the best.
It's on 30 to 15 June 2025. So please make it a point to be there as a sign off. 13 June, 15 June 2025, homecoming and speech. Thank you all.